Well, folks, you found it. The most unprofessional little podcast there ever was. Ain't much else to say. Just sit back, sip on some whiskey, and be entertained. Because the Whiskey Bros are about to make love to your ears.
I think I like listening to these better. I think it sounds more conversational.
Right. And I think that's correct. I'm just here in the moment. I'm trying to figure out which one I like better.
Yeah.
I'm hearing myself be able to talk to, but I don't know. I kind of like
You can't regulate yourself.
No, that's
of course your heat.
Well, I think that's why it also makes it easier to listen to because we're more just normal talking.
Are we still debating whether we like it or not without headphones?
Yep.
Okay.
Trying to figure out exactly.
Okay. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Whiskey Bros Around the Table.
Yeah.
We've got
like
special
234.
Yeah, somewhere up there.
Somewhere in there.
I mean, it's
something like that.
We're in the stars now, baby. We got a special guest. Just a little Mike Tyson moment there.
Yeah.
A special guest with us today, Jack Dyer, a civil engineer, a land developer, owner of Dyer Engineering, a businessman, and last but not least, a right-wing extremist.
I like that
Didn't think I was
introduction.
going to say it.
That's a great introduction. I didn't think you would say that.
Oh, this is going to be good, folks.
I like that. He said he asked me where I wanted to be in the political spectrum. Let's shove it on over there, man. Come
Put
on.
it all on black.
Don't mess around. Yeah.
Hey, well, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for being here. I know we've kind of tossed this one around for a little while. You know,
Yeah.
Well, can we get you on? And we did. We finally landed you. It's a big fish we got right here right now.
Oh my goodness. Has it gotten that bad?
Huh?
Has it gotten that bad?
No. Not at all. Not at all. Well, give us a little history about yourself first, and then we'll roll into some topics that we got going on here.
Oh, you want history?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Like, how detailed do you want to
I
get?
don't know.
Like,
Where you were
fourscore and
born,
30
what your mother's maiden name was.
I'm born and raised Southlake, Texas.
Okay. All right.
Let me guess.
Another Southlake.
Let me guess. You had Mexicans cooking your food on the beach too, huh?
On the beach?
That's where this guy
Yeah,
comes
do you have
from.
your servants?
Yeah,
I didn't
How
have
many
any
servants did you
We
have?
were-
Excuse me,
I didn't
Julio.
come from the servant club, type people. I don't know what.
Cook my crab.
Yes.
How many Mercedes did you
I'm
own?
not that kind of South. I was there before. I was Southlake when Southlake wasn't cool.
There you
Okay.
go.
Okay.
It was literally like a post office and a barbecue joint.
Yeah, like literally our family, 1876 grapevine.
Nah,
And then
okay.
there was a Southlake that occurred.
Yeah.
And there it was. And we happened to find ourselves with land on both sides of the lake because our land went through the middle of Denton Creek and it became Grapevine Lake. So we had a Flower Mound side and a South Lake side to the land kind of thing and ended up.
Nice.
So through this or that, we ended up in South Lake.
So when did you exit Southlake?
Well, high school, I went, so I'm a kind of an interesting guy. My mom was a teacher at Fort Worth Christian. So I actually ended up going to Fort Worth Christian for 3 years of high school because I thought it was going to help me for college and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I had some other thoughts of what I was going to do with it at the time. And that's another whole story. But yeah, left there, college, Texas A&M, out of A&M, back
Aren't you also
home.
an Aggie?
Are you an Aggie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't claim it. I went for grad school.
Okay.
Grad school? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
counts,
so it's
right?
not the same.
Yeah,
It's not the same.
Different, but still,
Yeah.
yeah. Got the affiliation, the connection. So,
It
yeah,
doesn't count because Doc knows how to build fires.
Oh, God.
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
not get
Too
killed by
soon
them.
still. That still hurts. Those are our brothers and sisters.
Wow.
How long ago was that? That was over 20 years, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That bonfire?
Yeah, the bonfire
I
thing.
was still in high school. Anyways, what a terrible segue that was, bro.
Yeah, let's say
you're
about something else. Yeah,
Read the room.
You're welcome.
yeah. So, yeah, and then just basically after that, came home, did engineering, farmed a little bit with Dad up at we bought some land sold a lot of the South Lake land and bought some land at Montague and Nakona.
Yeah.
Back up in there, and then Dad's got a place down here.
That's kind of the
Paradise.
same.
Yeah.
South. When you think of South Lake, you also think of Montague.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
And
Mayor
then
of the
Jack
Twin-
became the only right-wing extremist in Montague.
Montague County, yeah, yes. Everybody else just seems so much more liberal than me.
Yeah, up there.
So when would you say South Lake became South Lake?
Dude, that's a good question. To me, South Lake was 810 people growing up, and we were out there with the Dairy Queen was a big deal when that came in, and there was a store or two, and then town was Grapevine, and then Route 1, Box 48E, Roanoke, Texas was my mailing address.
Wow.
Which there wasn't even a post office then. I don't know. Sometime in the 80s, it really started to change. Early 80s, I'd say. It was changing slowly, but not at that rate. Then boom, like 85.
How old are you?
57.
Okay. All right. So you graduated high school?
87.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it changed and then left and around that time, and then and then off at school. By the time I got back from A&M, they had started building 170 and all that, and you couldn't even get into. I didn't know how to get home. So all the construction, every road was torn up, everything. Yeah, crazy. So
I grew up South Kimball, right there by the Dairy Queen. That was that's where I lived my whole life before I went off to college. And then similar, right? I was a little behind you, about 10 years behind you, but went away to college, came back, couldn't figure out where I lived. That.
I don't know. I'm old enough to remember, like, Decatur and Paradise remind me of how Grapevine and Southlake used to be. But now the growth is happening with Decatur and Paradise. Decatur's like the downtown element. Paradise has become the residential element.
Yeah.
Somebody put out a poll the other day about incomes in Paradise, like a census went out, and I was surprised. Like over 40% were households that made over $200,000 a year. I was genuinely surprised to see those numbers for Paradise.
Yeah,
but things are changing.
I believe
they're not making that in Paradise.
No, they're making that
it elsewhere. That's just where they live.
Shearing horses.
Yeah.
No.
So what led you to what led you to engineering? Like, did you have a calling?
My dad was a contract. Well, Dad built metal buildings, and so he was a building contractor and worked for. Well, he didn't work for Mesco, but we sold Mesco's product in the day, and then we did a little bit of everything. Like any typical family does 5 things in Texas. Nobody does one thing, you know.
Yeah.
But building metal buildings was the thing, and then watching Dad have to deal with lots of cities and all these people that had come from out of state that were now running things in the cities, and all of a sudden that whole generation of guys couldn't get anything approved. They couldn't even build anything in the town, so it just kind of screwed up everything. And so I thought, I'm going to go get an engineering degree and stick it up their ass.
So you also became a little inclined towards politics, I'm guessing, and policy at that point, too. that had a little bit of an effect on that. Yeah, the law, other things, figuring out why. And I am a bit. I'm the nerd that reads every single. Like Mark Smith, on a YouTube channel. Was it 4 Boxes Diner? I will listen to his stuff all day long. Every Supreme Court case, every brief, everything. I'm nerdy enough that I'm listening to that stuff all day long. Like flicked on. Oh, there's another one. I weed through them, but looking for those assault weapons bans, the open carry bans, the protected places crap and all that. So I'm constantly watching that kind of thing.
Okay. What do you do with it? Like, what do you do with the information once you get it? You hear about some big abortion thing they're talking about, or some blood boiling issue.
Yeah,
what does that drive you
Mexico to? Not for me. It's like I don't know. I think I just feel very superior that I know this shit. It's something like that, But just holding onto the deets and I just like to. I want to be frosty on where things are at.
Yeah,
and and really knowing constitutional law is it's eye-opening. I think I like to know things because you guys can probably relate to this. Growing up in Texas in churches and everything else, everybody knows a little bit of something. Nobody really knows anything.
Right.
And then you go off to college and you're expecting to learn this stuff at these colleges, and they don't know anything either. And then you start realizing that the guy that knows something lives in the desert of somewhere else.
Yeah, he's gotten away from it.
Yeah, he's not even there anymore, and he's written a book on it. But
here's what I know, and I'm out.
Yeah. So it's real good information's not available necessarily all the time on the internet. It's becoming, but not as much. So.
Yeah, you think that's changing? Yeah,
a little bit, because more and more is getting on the internet. So, I think that there's communities of people that kind of nerd out on that particular topic.
But you got to be able to parse through the bullshit too. Yeah, because there's a lot of bad information.
Yeah,
on the
how
internet.
do you sift the shit?
That looks really appetizing too.
Did anybody watch the Wes Huff versus Billy Carson, that thing that was on Joe Rogan?
Nope, I missed that one, I guess.
Oh, it's where he's going to go on and tell everybody, like biblical stuff. And the guy's kind of like, well, I think space aliens did it all. And, and all this. And he's this black guy that's like, yeah, the space aliens, and it's this. And, and he's got all these crazy theories, and he knows just enough to be dangerous. And then Wes Huff comes on there on this show, and he invited him on and wanted to debate him. And he just, Wes just asked him 3 questions, and the guy left. Got up from one of these interviews and left.
So he's not good with, confrontation then.
Yeah, you should go watch the Wes Huff, Billy Carson meltdown. It's like Joe Rogan. Yeah, it was a big deal. Yeah.
So it's an actual Rogan episode then.
It was everybody spoke on Rogan about it, but I think Rogan kind of started it because he was hosting Billy Carson on there, and it's like, everybody that knows anything, that's bullshit. What? Yeah. Where are you coming up with this stuff? And then so then he gets a biblical scholar who goes on there and just rips him a new one. So yeah,
poor guy.
Yeah,
he learned something that day.
Like, there's this thing called the Sinai Bible, and it's like, what? And he's talking about the Sinai Bible. Well, it's like Codex Sinaiticus. Any biblical scholar knows that that's one of the codexes that that Constantine commissioned to be sent out, like 50. I forget how many there were. They sent out to all the kings, and it's one that survived in the Sinai Desert in Catherine Monastery, St. Catherine's Monastery. I think I'm telling that right.
Okay.
But anyway, they discovered, they found it, and it's a known early Bible, but he comes up with this thing called the Sinai, and he starts attributing all these things to it that are like space aliens.
Yeah, there's nothing real. He's just a crazy dude. The minute he gets challenged, he
had a community of followers that are like, I think that I think the Sumerian texts are talking about the Anunnaki, and the Anunnaki are a daggum. Those are space aliens. And there's like 3 or 4 different things, like some planet called Nibiru, and there's all this weird stuff.
The ninth planet out there.
Planet, and it's like when you read the text, and it's all available online. You can read this stuff in the original language, and it's like, no, that's not what it said.
What was the book that everybody's talking about right now that was edited from the Bible? Enoch. Yeah. So is that similar?
Yeah, it's connected to that because he pulled a lot of references out of Enoch, and that Enoch's something that and I think I told you, like, one of my favorite topics, and probably some of your listeners, probably Michael Heiser, like the Unseen Realm, some of those books. You read Heiser?
No, I haven't. I'm curious though. I'm curious. Yeah, because I saw the note up there.
Yeah,
and so. Tell me about Michael Heiser or this Unseen Realm. That's
the book. Okay. Yeah. So, he's got several books, and I can't list them. I'm going to go get my phone. But Heiser is a Semitic, ancient Hebrew biblical scholar who runs with all the circles of these guys that basically they're taking one section of one script thing, and they tear it down into the original Hebrew, and they go back as far as they can. And so a lot of this, there you go. A lot of Heiser died. He died in 22 or 23 of cancer, but through about a good 20-year run, I mean, he was the guy.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people have kind of started trying to follow in his tracks, but reversing Hermon in the Unseen Realm, those are probably, Supernatural's a good one. But he basically does not want to deal with not looking for a bestseller mentality or anything like that. He's looking for literally taking the text and stripping it apart and really knowing word by word and what the oldest and most authentic text is. And so and so that's what there's a lot of synergy around that discussion right now, because so much of the Dead Sea Scrolls material is starting to be printed, and it's where I'm not telling this right, but they have access to it. The Israeli Institute, all these different places in the Israeli universities and all that held this stuff is finally starting to let it out where you can actually give critical review of it.
Okay, so it's been gatekeeping
and tons
going
of people are like there's like tons of people writing, their thesis statements and all these things on these, and there's a lot of information coming out. So good stuff, really good stuff.
How would you paint the information? Like, what point in history are we with regards to our belief systems, or the way we conceptualize heaven? Or God the Father.
He's got a companion in the Book of Enoch. Okay.
Oh, yeah. He's got tons.
So what's changing? What's changing?
I would say a couple of things. I'll give you the bullet points. And I'm going to say it in a broad stroke, and some people may push back, but I'll give it to you. Okay. All our lives, we carried around the KJV and the NIV. Okay. Our Old Testaments, our New Testaments in those books are pretty saucy. They're where they belong, I guess, in general. I mean, if you like.
It's pretty set.
Yeah. If you like Shakespeare in English, KJV's for you,
Yeah.
So, not that anybody can speak that, but go right ahead.
But nothing's changing about the Book of Acts, so to speak.
No, I was like New Testament forward, but from the Old Testament back. Here is the biggest kind of discovery that I will jump right in and say, and it is that the Old Testament, for the longest time, the Greek Septuagint text, which and there's a whole history to that we don't necessarily need to go into, but the Septuagint Greek version. There was sort of an assumption that it couldn't be as old as the standard Jewish Bible.
Okay.
And the Jewish Bible is the Masoretic text, okay? Well, the oldest Masoretic text is like 600 maybe. I may be telling that wrong. Maybe it's 400 to 600. But there is some thinking. There's a kind of a, like we have the Council of Nicaea where they get together and they assemble well, there's this Council of Jamnia, which some say never happened, but this is a big Jewish conspiracy kind of thing. But essentially, you picture in the first century context.
Yeah.
You've got Jesus, 33 AD. You've got, the Pauline's, boom. You've got the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. Okay, big pivotal moment. Jews are unhinged. Well, from 70 to 92-ish, sometime in the 90s, something happened in the 90s. And what some scholars are guessing, and there's a lot of early church fathers, a lot of secondary information that probably what took place is that a lot of Jews converted to Christianity. And as a result, the Pharisees, which if you see a Jew today, they are a Pharisee. They're not Jews. They are literally Pharisees, and they're all of the Talmud texts and all of those things are all those traditions of the Hillel school. All that rabbis are all Pharisee text, and it appears that in the 90s that they changed their Bibles and removed certain words because the Septuagint has always read parallel to them different. And I can give you some key points, as we go. But
so you had two versions. You had the Greek version, you had the Jewish version. They were all kind of aligned until the 90s, and then you could tell that then they diverged.
There's a huge divergence.
Yeah.
And for one thing, they kicked the book of Daniel out of the Masoretic. They don't even have it in most Jewish Bibles because it's so problematic for them because it points to a Messiah. So you've got this book of Daniel pointing, really uncomfortably with, and the more you really read it in the Hebrew and understand it, there's a lot of weird stuff that I'm like, even I've been blown away at some of the things that are kind of prophetic in some sense. But the big issue is that they started to remove. Well, so giving you a little more history on that, the Septuagint text, the Dead Sea Scrolls, all of those that come out, generally, yes, there's some alignment with the Masoretic text because they didn't change everything. But in those key places that really stand out, the oldest Bibles, and some of them are 300 years before Christ, the age, the carbon dating and everything else. And even some of them are as early as 600 to 800 years. So they almost get back into the fall of the first temple and the Babylonian exile. So these are way back. And these copies are there. So it's really hard for the Jews to argue with the provenance on these things, because here we have this extremely early stuff.
Yeah.
And you're going, well, where'd that come from? And so that's why they withheld it. Once they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, they were like, this is really problematic. And so all this stuff started coming out. And another thing that they noticed is the Book of Enoch, to come back to that. There's copies of Enoch. There's copies of a lot of those other books, what we call the Apocrypha, and there's other things, in the definition of that is kind of hard to pin down. It doesn't mean doubtful. It means it's actually mysterious or revelatory. There's a lot more to that word. So ultimately, what we know is that at the Council of Nicaea, the Catholics actually did include it in 350, which they didn't understand it at all, but they included that stuff. But the reality is that all those things, what we call first century Second Temple understanding of their worldview in Scripture, is drastically different than what we, either in Catholicism or in the Protestant churches or even the non-denominational
post-scientific revolution.
Yeah, there's a lot more going on there. That one of the things is this divine assembly understanding that goes from the New Testament into from the Old Testament all the way through, and is in all the extra testamental books, and then also arrives in the New Testament. And it's just the language and the sayings are riddled throughout Paul's writings, throughout what Jesus is saying, the things he's doing. A lot of things that don't make sense to us, but when you read those, you're like, oh, now I get it.
So why all the gatekeeping then? Why all the mysteriousness? Why the slow trickle of information?
So you're kind of pointing to a cover-up that happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
are you saying?
Sorry.
A Jewish cover-up?
Yeah, but
no.
This was okay. So this is
that music that they play with.
I think I hear Mossad approaching.
I know. I hear a missile coming.
Yeah. It's like
just to let you guys know, if tomorrow
I'm not there,
I did not hang myself.
We are not suicidal. On the show.
I know.
But you almost can't make that claim because at the time. And what you're saying is that maybe this wasn't completely so, but at the time, the Jewish world was crumbling. They were at the start of like a big diaspora, and they were being sent out. They were being toppled literally by the Romans.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But there was a cover up. That's the big idea.
There's pretty much. I think that's. I think that's that most scholars, to avoid anti-Semitism, are avoiding it. And I even Heiser, sometimes he'll say everything I'm saying, but he does it in a much nicer way than I do, because he's got to do. At the time, he was dealing with all these different. He's got a lot of Jewish rabbis that are and not everybody today is intentionally covering it up. I think they're discovering it, and they're trying to figure out why. But I think those are the logical conclusions.
So what's the consequence of this unveiling of sorts, or this renaissance of apocryphal text?
Yeah, that's a real good question, and I was wondering, if anyone would ask me that. But yeah, that's. I've got my own opinions on it, and I see a lot of scholars go in a lot of different directions. I'll try to stay as scholarly as I can. I don't want to be Billy Carson, talk about that Sinai text down there, space aliens, man. It's like so. No, I think I'll give you a sentence that I think it kind of sums it up. A paragraph, I guess. The book of Genesis. The Torah, okay? All right.
Yeah.
If you take that and you superimpose it against the Sumerian, Babylonian, Assyrian annals, chronicles, it appears that what the whole thing is written on, like we look at it and we go, is it to prove that, the world was created in 7 days or whatever? Okay, that's a part of it, but that's not the author's focus. That audience that he's writing to already believes that God created that's not something. It's like this is revelatory. I'm telling you that's not what they're focused on. What they're writing about is an epic and a history, but they're not so much. It's also the Babylonian gods facing off with Yahweh, with the God of the universe, with Ha Elohim, Hashem, the name Adonai. So if you look at it that way, God, as we call it in the Germanic, but those two forces are in opposition, and the book is written literally point by point, is an opposition text to the Babylonian text. And I would give you the central themes are Babylonians, God creates other beings. Psalms 82, Michael Heiser, is God stood in the midst of the gods. Okay, that is problematic. And Heiser spends a lot of time explaining why the word God, that comes from the derivative of Gott in the Germanic, isn't a good fit for what they put in the text. And I'll come back to some other points later, is that the word church doesn't fit for ecclesia. The two won't correspond. And so church is Germanic, kirche, and it comes from, the gathering of the gods, the pagan gods. It's like, so,
It's a particularly European imposition.
Yeah, we got a real European, and we're trying to understand it as Europeans.
What is ecclesia in the biblical sense?
Ecclesia. It means... Well, can I come back to that one? Because that one's got there's a lot to that. So to stay with this, the Psalms 82, there's a Psalms 82, Psalms 89, I would reference you to, and then Deuteronomy 32 worldview, which gives you three concepts of the fall. And I'll just quickly go. One is the Nephilim, which everybody loves to talk about the name. You get a bunch of guys in the room talking about the Nephilim, man.
Yeah. Keith.
Yeah. So the creation of the Nephilim, the sons of God, and they actually are called the B'nai Ha-Elohim, which means that literally translated as B'nai, sons of Elohim, or sons of God. The text uses the word Elohim when it says in Psalms 82, God stood in the midst of the gods. If I'm saying it right, it's Ha-Elohim, Mitzvah, Bekerev, I can't remember how it says in Hebrew, Elohim. Anyway, B'nai Elohim. It's essentially saying that Elohim stood in the midst of the Elohim. So it tells us that the word Elohim is not a name for God, yet the Jews believe it was, and we would say it typically is. Samuel, Saul. Remember when Saul says to the witch of Endor, I want to summon up Samuel because I got to get some information from him. And he goes to this witch who he banned, and he says, bring him up. And so she necromances him out of the ground. And he says, and the first thing she says is, he goes, what do you see? She says, I see an Elohim coming up out of the ground. That tells you that the word Elohim means a supernatural disembodied spirit. What does it mean? Well, they use Ha-Elohim to mean the superlative. And then elsewhere, Psalms 89 tells us that God created the other Elohim. But it then fits into a pantheon. And that's that can be a problem for our Christian Catholic understanding.
Oh, absolutely. We can't. You have to understand the whole pantheon before you can actually properly see the aspects of the pantheon into their appropriate place.
Explain pantheon.
Pantheon is
multiple gods.
Yeah, a group of gods essentially.
Okay.
And okay, so Marvel Universe. The point I'm kind of making there is you can't really understand anybody's story before you understand the whole Marvel Universe, and then you can actually
start
get a
understanding
sense
the connection
of
of the
Iron
characters.
Man and Hulk, and
it's a good point.
Or Greek
how
literature
they all kind of fit together, right? Because
the mythological gods. Yeah,
and that's the uncomfortable part, is because Paul, when he's referring to these things, he has these great, Plato, Socrates type conversations with the Greeks.
Yeah,
and so they understand this worldview. They can speak across it. Essentially a way to look at it. So back to the three falls, that explains where they come from. The fall at Babel. What happens? God assigns all the nations to the various Elohim or sons of God, if you will. And then you look, go to the New Testament. Paul is bringing everyone back from that. So, Babel, the fall, I want a divorce. You don't want to follow me, you don't want to listen to me, then go. I'm going to assign you to the gods. And so at this point, you can say, okay, have they fallen? Not quite. But there's this fall concept mixed with the mixing concept, and they're a little more complicated. And I won't go too far into that.
I'm sorry. I'm just making sure recording's still going. That's when you see me look over my shoulder. No, we've had instances where that thing
you
has
look
stopped.
up and you were not going. There's the fall of Babel, and at Babel, the introduction to the concept that they're all assigned to different gods.
It's kind of dispersed.
And God, Ha-Elohim, Yahweh, keeps one portion for himself, the land of Israel. And in the narrative, he chooses Abraham and Sarah, who cannot have children or are advanced in age, because he's going to do it in opposition to what everything else that you would think in accordance with reason. That's typical of God. He's going to go, I'm going to take this and this, and I'm going to create a great nation out of you who are not suitable to do anything. And I'll take this little piece of land over here that nobody wants, and I'll make this my land too, since nobody wants it either. Y'all can have this, you can have that, you can have it all. I don't want to argue with you anymore. So he sends them out to do this. But it teaches you something about the nature of God. He wanted family. So the idea was to create family. And that's why in Genesis it says, and he created them, let us create man in our, who's he talking about? Who, you got a mouse in your pocket? It's the divine council.
Well, that's a big idea there.
Ooh, it's a big idea.
Yeah.
And so, but it wasn't to them. If you ask Jesus, if you ask the first century apostles, like, yeah, that's what this is about. But us, we're like, oh my gosh, that's a pantheon. So, but it doesn't have the impact ultimately that you think it does. Like, oh, well, then there's just plenty of gods. No, that's not where it's headed. The pantheon forget the pantheon. It's a council. So you see at Psalms 82, God holds counsel in the midst of the Elohim. He's holding counsel. He wants your opinion. He doesn't need your opinion, but I'd like your opinion. Why? Because he likes family. That's the identity is it's circular in fashion. So it changes the nature of God. In the Babylonian text, there is a rebellion in which the Elohim, these other sons of God, rebel against God, and they form a whole new system, and they intrude, mixing with man. That's the whole Greek concept of, this one is from the gods, and this Roman emperor must be from the gods, because they believe that there has been a literal physical concept of hypergamy, female with a god, to create this new being that's bigger, taller, smaller, or smarter.
It's a very Greek idea. Whenever I hear that, hypergamy, I think at its base, a Greek idea. But what maybe this suggests is
something more.
That it exists even prior to Greek. Thought
far before it. So then you end up with there's two of the falls. We've got Babel, and we've got what was the other one I gave you? The Nephilim, the creation of the Nephilim. But then there's the big one, and the big one is something that is alluded to throughout all of our Bibles, but without the book of Enoch, you wouldn't know what the heck they were talking about, or the Babylonian text. But when you see it, then you come right back to Genesis and you get, they understood this totally. And that is, when God takes the land, in that worldview, the highest point in the land is the place of the God. And so God rules from the highest point. That's the access point to the God. And God rules from the highest point in Israel. What's the highest point in Israel? Well, the Israelis just took it back. That was Mount Hermon, where they have the ski slopes.
Okay.
And the name Hermon means given to destruction. So it's a desolate, treeless mountain has been given over to destruction. And there's a whole history of archaeological things they found that predate even the Jews that are on the top of that, called the place of the watchers. And so from there, they held another council. And in that council, so you've got God's council, and then you've got their council. And their council is the rebellion. This is Satan's council, if you will, okay? And so in the Babylonian epic, it's a good thing, because it creates civilization. We rebelled against God. We went down, we had sex with their hypergamous women, and we created this new race that is this super race. All right, and they did it all over the planet, okay?
Was it the Germans?
I knew somebody was going to come up with that. Is it the Scandinavians? Because they're the biggest ones. That's got to be what, I'm going to get to something in a minute that may make you think that even more.
Hang on before we get too farther, because I got
go ahead. Ask away.
3. The first one, you called the Mount Hermon, which for our redneck ladies, he's not saying hormones. Okay?
Hormones.
So Hermon's the mountain.
Hermon.
The second is, so in Genesis where he talks about, let's make men and women, or men, or whatever it says, in our image.
Yeah.
Then like 3 sentences later, or maybe like 2 sentences later, it says, okay, now God made it in his image.
Yeah.
So why, if he was talking to him and saying, let's make them in our image, why does it say, so God made it in their image?
Because and literally the thinking is he's in the council when he suggests the question, and then here he's made them in his image. So I know it doesn't. I get it, but I don't know that at least any scholar I've ever read doesn't, because I've thought the same thing, and that seems to be the standing understanding of it as far as I know.
And then. So I have the Apocrypha, or however you say it, down there, and I've read some of the books, and not all entirely, but the one is the Book of Enoch. Is I still to this day I don't understand how it didn't make the Bible. The amount of stuff that's in that, and the Bible talks about everything in this, but piece by piece. There's a little piece here, and then the first time I read that one, I was like, how could this not make the Bible?
Yeah, what you're saying is it's kind of like the key. It's the key to kind of.
Well, I mean, there's some other books that I've read, and I'm like, nah, okay. Nah. Yeah. But that one, like, there's some holy shit going on in that.
Yeah.
Like, how did that not make the Bible?
Yeah,
it blows my mind.
And when you look at the Council of Nicaea, there was a real, and I hate to say it, there is a bit of anti-Semitism. They wanted to Jew the Bible.
Yeah.
And so they kind of wanted this, they kind of wanted a cleaner, let's just stick with Paul and, and let's get rid of this Jewish stuff. And they didn't fully understand it. So by the 350s, this stuff had been lost. Now, they were aware of it because they talk about it, but they didn't know what to make of it. And reading the early church fathers, they had the early church fathers, it was a big part of the thing, But by the time you get to Augustine and, well, and I guess you could say
Aquinas,
that too, but I'm thinking of having a brain moment here.
Whiskey, it'll do that to you.
Jerome. When you get with Jerome, a lot of that is referenced, but it's not front and center, and they're on to other things. So when you look at that from those three falls, Jesus knew this. Paul knew this. Anybody living in first century, second. So their expectation of a Messiah was someone that was going to undo the condition of those three things. We're just like Adam and Eve, like he bit an apple. Well, it's actually somewhat of a side story. It's part of the fall, but it's actually just it's kind of a reference marker. And it's a little more complex to get into, but and a whole history of that. So I guess I could jump forward and answer his question a little bit more.
Ecclesia.
Is the ecclesia. So how this has a huge effect for us is obviously the Jews. If you go look at if you go look at the Jewish Bible, they don't say that God stood in the midst of the sons of God. They say God stood in the midst of the sons of Israel, and they changed B'nai Elohim to Israel Elohim. And so
and we know it's different. We know it's different because we have these differing accounts now.
Yeah, no, we know because we have texts that so far predate anything we've ever seen before, and we know, and they're consistent with each other in what they're saying.
Yeah.
And one of the weird things about the Jewish text is, think about it. In Psalms 89, it's describing beings. He's talking about that they were put in their places, and he references the sun and the moon and the stars, that they were there and that they came out of order, and that's what created the fall. Was they left their celestial
so it's
places.
Like an astrological nod of sorts.
Yeah, and so they're leaving their places and they're in rebellion. And so, in other words, they weren't fulfilling the mission that they had. They taught man, they civilized people.
I know what he's thinking. He's thinking like aliens.
Yeah, he's thinking space aliens.
Yeah, I see those wheels turning in his mind. Yeah.
Yeah, he's back to space aliens.
Space aliens.
No, so, but it's the real issue is that I lost my train of thought. We were talking about
yeah.
What was it that I had?
Trying to keep up.
Yeah,
you were
the
talking
ecclesia.
about the ecclesia.
Well, yeah, and Psalms 89. I wanted to throw that one in. One of the reasons we know they've changed it is in Psalms 89. These things are in their place in the sky, and then he says, and then the sons of God were flying. He describes them as moving through the ethereal and through heaven, and they moved about, flying through the. Well, the Jews changed the text from sons of God to sons of Israel. That means there's a bunch of Jewish guys flying through the sky. I mean, if the text is read the way the Jews have now rewritten it, you've got a bunch of Jews flying through this. And the other part is that at the time that this is even referencing, Israel doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how can the sons of Israel be part of this early? Yeah, you get it. So
evidence of them changing the text later on. So that's just so interesting. You could like spend many nights laying awake trying to unpack what all this would mean, if indeed you have like 3 ancient text sources and 2 of them agree with each other and one of them ends up becoming different, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's really interesting.
Or you find out that for years you've been doing something and you know, it's kind of like it's almost like finding out that one of the royal family members is really not legit, you know, and you got a DNA test and it comes, That's almost what it's like, a DNA test gone bad, you know?
Wow.
So, yeah.
Do you think in a sense we're living in a bit of a renaissance? As far as that goes,
weird as shit. I'll just say it like that.
Okay.
That at the 2,000 year mark, you know, we were all looking for the apocalypse, and I was skeptical of it, but I was looking for some weird, like there's some things like, let's find out what really what happens, and the Dead Sea Scrolls coming about when they did, and Israel being restored. Do I think Third Temple? I'm not a big Third Temple guy.
What does that mean?
You know, that you need to build a third temple for Christ to come again. I don't.
Before the conditions are met.
Yeah, there's a lot of Hal Lindsey, late great Planet Earth, a lot of crazy. You know, and you get into Left Behind, and I don't. A lot of that stuff it's bad academics in it, and so ultimately, I do think that the weird things, like if I'm going to point to something, is that all of a sudden, and what I'm going to tell you about the ecclesia here in a minute, I think this one will will perk your ears. Because I think there's things that are I call it revelation. Something's being revealed in the late hour.
Uh-huh.
Now, is this the end? I don't know. I'm not one of I'm not setting up doing I'm not going to do revelation math.
How do you know that this is a late hour? But yeah, something.
Haven't heard any trumpets yet.
Yeah, trumpets, right? And planets lining up, dogs and cats living together, you know, all that. So, I don't chase those things, but what I do look at is what is weird, and what's beyond bizarre is that there is a strange prophetic revelatory thing happening that's happening, and I'm seeing the movements in a lot of churches now that are starting to catch on to this. So something's being released, and it's game changing.
Okay.
Tell us what your observance is.
Okay. All right. You ready for this?
Okay.
We are ready. And I apologize because I'm so long-winded.
No,
Once I do this,
this is why you're on the show.
Fine.
We're not here to not talk.
You perked my ears up.
I need to drink a little more whiskey, and then this will get better. I promise.
No, it's pretty dang
good
right
more
now.
Interesting.
Well, while you're taking your whiskey break, we need to say something about our newest gift.
Oh yeah.
Our listener just got us these things. They're wooden.
Why didn't I get one?
Charred.
Sorry, you just got a normal glass.
Right.
Whiskey glasses. Monty Caraway, dude.
Damn, Monty, spending the big bucks. Thank you, Monty.
That's
Thank you, sir.
Greatness. And our one and only Virgil Leather did the nice engraving on them. So you guys rock.
We need to get you set up with Virgil, who makes some really fantastic swag for
pretty much anything you see with logo on it.
Before the show, we talked about the quality stuff that you have going on.
Yeah,
this guy's
dude, he can come down and check out our merch shop down at Willow Run.
Okay,
yeah, because we got. I mean, you've seen our emblem, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you more about that.
We know you do quality, but this guy's an amazing leather worker. But he does everything, literally everything, emblazoning.
I love it. I love
fucking wooden cups.
I like that hat. Did you do that?
No. I got this from actual Still Austin.
Have you had any of their whiskey yet?
No. Where is Still Austin? I'm in Austin.
It's in Austin. It's the only distillery in the city limits.
You like
of
going
Austin.
to Austin?
I hate Austin.
You hate Austin?
Yeah.
But
I love all the venues. I love the food, the venues, and the stuff. But I mean, I
don't like the people, I should say.
And I kind of like rolling around being this kind of conservative that's in the midst of them, and I kind of listen to their stuff. Like, well, that's not true.
Hold on now.
Yeah,
but that's the problem. They don't even care.
No,
they don't care if it's the truth or not.
No, that most of them don't.
No.
You do find some segments. And there's a pretty good libertarian population in Austin, by the way. I got a lot of friends that are total right-wing conservatives from Austin.
If you get a chance, go back 2 episodes ago and we had a whole episode with the direct. What was his name? Is
Jason?
Yeah, Jason. Thank you. And he's the director of education.
Yes, I believe that's
for the
correct.
distillery there. And the dude is like, no pun intended, Neil deGrasse Tyson of whiskey.
And this dude's in Austin.
Yeah, he's in Austin, and he works for Still Austin.
We'll get into this later, but I'm thinking about converting one of my buildings on the end into a brewery distillery, and we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Anyway,
all right, so back to your observances in apocalyptic events.
Here we go. Okay. Throughout the Bible, you can't really understand a lot of the things that are being said. There's a lot of references, like why does Jesus do this and this? I'll give you the big one, and then we can back out of it. But the idea of building churches, and I was telling you earlier that the word church, I got to be careful with this. I think it's fair to say that when you look at your Bible, the word church, it appears in your Bible, but it shouldn't be there.
Okay.
The word,
that's a pretty bold claim.
That's a bold claim.
Yeah.
I know. And then, boys, Catholics are going, oh,
tonight
my
we have
God,
discovered Jack is God.
Yeah, I'm probably going to. Fucking Catholics that are going to shoot me for this. Yeah, be careful. So, no, the word church shouldn't really be there. The word, if you were reading it, it says ecclesia, where everywhere it happens.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I'll walk you through some things. The word means. It literally is the word that people say, well, it's the governing body. And that's true, but it's way more than that. The word means Caesar emanates from the gods. Okay. All right. Let's take, if the Greeks had still been there and it had been Alexander, he emanates from the gods. So he has the right to determine who within his realm shall be his ecclesia. It implies a divine authorship to place you there, and it was so that you could rule over provinces and over things of great power and authority. And you've got to have a connection to the gods through the emperor, and this was, we read them like, well, the president ain't no god. Well, back then he was, okay? And so they maybe some sat around drinking about it and laughing, but I think they were scared to death of that concept. The average, that it really carried, they were superstitious about everything. They were definitely superstitious about that. So that was a word you didn't say, because you didn't have any authority to or any right to, and you could get killed for doing it. And so Caesar determined that Pilate was going to be his ecclesia, or some of his ecclesia would be those who rule and reign.
His God-ordained ruler of Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? It's like,
Yeah, or over a province, or over a so you got a ruler, and you got.
It's kind of the same way now. It's like you can't rule Venezuela unless you're
unless Trump appoints you
or ordained, or Brazil or wherever.
So
same thing. Okay, please keep going.
Yeah, so ecclesia means literally it means those who rule and reign. And you've got to be careful with that because it carries a supernatural context to it that we don't really connect with. Okay, so Jesus says to them, you are my ecclesia. And wherever you go, tell them you are my ecclesia. Well, there's one thing, this is kind of like beyond fighting words. It's a death sentence. If I tell you, a Roman soldier, I'm walking down the street and I say, what are you? Well, we're part of the ecclesia.
He's like, no, you're not.
He's like, what did you say? Take him up. No, say that one more time. Like that kind of, who do you think you get that guy? You're in trouble. So that was something that would get you killed. And so Jesus is telling them to be the ecclesia. We go around church. It's just so churchy. It's so nice. And Jesus is a nice guy, and all that kind of thing. But that's not
out of context.
Totally out of context. So you've got something that's going on here that's and now this will kind of divine counsel.
Yeah.
This is connected. What is the ecclesia? What is those who rule and reign? What's going on in the divine council? They're ruling and reigning. So when he tells them to be my ecclesia, he means, and when you have Pentecost, where things get crazy, okay, like people are speaking in tongues, you got you got the world spinning around, you got people crying, people laughing, people
I've been to a Pentecostal service, it was crazy.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
You get that on steroids, and then the doors come off the room, and they're like, okay, so that concept. But then when you roll forward to there's one event that really is the defining thing that will pull this Book of Enoch thing into the picture. Jude says, be careful to cover your, that concept of covering your heads. And Peter talks about Enoch. There's all that discussion. And that's definitely an Enoch reference. And that's right in there with what's going on. We can get into that later. But the big one is on graduation day for the apostles, he takes them to Caesarea Philippi. And I want to, your audience is like, this guy can't be very religious, because I'm going to put WTF when you put that there. Why are we going to Caesarea Philippi? Because it would be like me saying, we're going to go to Epstein Island.
Ooh.
Oh.
Only worse. Okay, like way worse, because not only do we got, in Caesarea Philippi, we have a cave that in the Jewish vernacular is the gates of hell. And we have these temples that were set up by the Canaanites, later by the Greeks, later by every conquering. They pray to their gods. All the foreign pagan stuff goes down right there. And it's child sacrifice. It's sex cults. It's anything that you can jack up and mess up is going on there. And it's
that's where the vegans came from.
That's where the vegans came. It's Austin. It's the sewers of Austin. That's what it is.
Oh,
Trying to think of the place in Austin. It's like
yeah. No, or
it's
San Francisco,
like going
the
to
height,
an abortion clinic. It's like Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
Like this is where Jesus wants to take the disciples to hang out.
Yeah.
So they arrive. Now, when you get to Caesarea Philippi, there's only one thing higher in elevation than Caesarea Philippi. And it is Mount Hermon. Mm-hmm. It's at the base of the mountain. Okay, so Jesus takes them there to this dirty pagan place called the Gates of Hell, and known in the rabbinical understanding is called the rock. The rock upon it's considered a place where the supernatural comes together. It's the place where the demons hang out. If you want to go hang out in that scary Amityville place, that's the place to go. So he takes the disciples there, and he's standing on this thing. Now, for Catholic, it's like, oh, this is where they formed the church, and Peter is no, that's not what's happening here. And the Protestants are like, oh, it's Peter's confession. It's the confession of, no, that's not what's happening here. He says, and there's some confusion, and I won't go into it right now about whether you are Peter comes before or after in the text. Who do you say that I am? But we'll leave that. He declares him as the Messiah, but there's a break in the text, and it immediately says, and upon this rock, and I'm going to say it in the Catholic Protestant understanding, I shall build my church. But what it actually says is, upon this rock, this demonic place, I will assemble my ecclesia.
Okay.
It's like I never even thought to think about.
Yeah, and that's the shocker, wild. And all these like, whoa, well, what does that mean then for believers? It's a big change, because he tells you, Jesus says, I gave you all my power and all my authority. Okay? I've got all your power and I've got all your authority. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the leper, cast out demons. And he sends them. And they go into all the world, make disciples of men through miraculous signs and wonders. This is spinning off out of control. See, it takes, and so the idea of going to church, there were no buildings. Everything they did was in homes. And we don't have that till the 350s. So what's going down here? There's no buildings.
He didn't have a church institution at the time when Jesus was speaking or ordained. Now that word is kind of hard for me, but ordaining Peter as the rock of his church. But you had no church at the time. And what you're saying is, or alluding to is it was not even like church.
To me, it sounds like they're waging war against evil. They just went into the epicenter of it.
But then the next chapter, the next verse, where do they go? They went up from Caesarea Philippi. Which way is up?
Well, it's one.
Up the mountain.
Right.
Up, yeah.
And that is where Jesus is transfigured. What's going on? And there's some weird stuff in the text, and I you get a lot of pushback on this, but
gosh, it's so interesting.
He uses the same words used to describe El Satan for Jesus. Okay, well, a lot of Aleister Crowley types went, oh, that just means that there's it's Gnosticism. No, that's not what's going on here.
I was going to ask that. Where does Gnosticism emerge from?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So what he's doing here is Jesus is commanding control of the council. Mm-hmm. And El Satan was the ultimate rebellion. He was the in the Babylonian text as well as the Book of Enoch. This character, the accuser, becomes the head of the rebellion, the one that sort of sparks it. So what you've got is Jesus being transfigured, translucent. Lucifer is lucent. Mm-hmm. That's the root word. He's lucent, and he elevates. It goes back to Ezekiel and Daniel worldview of son of the morning star, the son of the dawn, cloud rider. There's all these terminology that you use to describe the Son of Man, and some of the same language is used to describe Satan. Well, it's because the Satan is a usurper. And Jesus is taking his proper place, and he's saying, "This is my mountain, this is my place, and now I have a new ecclesia because y'all are no longer there." Mm-hmm. So he's picking a fight.
Kicked him out of their nightclub,
but they don't know yet. They haven't figured this out. Remember, they said if they had known, if the principalities had known, they would have never killed him.
Yeah.
So he's picking a fight on Mount Hermon. What happens in the next chapter? They go down. The Sanhedrin, the Pharisees are stirred up, and it even says that Satan stirred them up. What's going on? They're pissed. They're going to kill him, and they do. He basically said, "Kill me." It's what he's saying. I took your territory. Well, and they're like, "No, the time hasn't come yet. You don't have authority to do that. Now, we've already kicked you out off the mountain. We kicked you out of here. Because I've been playing it this way, but I'm not playing it this way anymore. And now you and I, all believers, are positioned in the council. That's why Paul says anyone who has believed is seated where? In heavenly realms. He's talking about being seated in the council.
The council, the pantheon, the
new one,
Elohim.
the reformed one. We are and he calls us sons of God. He uses the same terminology that he called the original beings are now referred to as believers.
Man,
they are all sons of God. They are B'nai HaElohim. Yeah. And so there gives here this will even I'll kick one more thing over, and then we can wrap it up there. But Baal worship, pagan worship, always has a linear progression of the people seated towards the open-mouthed God with the God at the end, and they build a temple. Everything that Yahweh does is tabernacle. The presence of the Lord in the midst of the people flowing out to the tribes. The 12 tribes gather around the presence. So if you're in a church...
It's a pretty bold idea,
right? Because what that's telling you is every church you've ever been in was aligned like a pagan Baal temple.
Yeah. That gives you a direction. A Baal worship gives you a direction, and you're just...
Whereas a tabernacular is circular.
Yeah, you got God in
all directions.
You got the mercy seat. He's in the present, and the presence flows out to the people. It's flows the Holy Spirit flowing out to people like a river. And that's why he says in every believer, they carry the presence of the Holy Spirit, and from them flows out to everything around
We
them.
have to ditch our rectangular table and get a circular table.
Yeah, it's kind of circular. We just got that up there, yeah. So.
I think it's just it fits the room better.
Yeah. There's some aesthetic things going on for sure.
That'll jack up your thinking,
it will.
man.
It will.
Truth to it. I can see that.
It's like you could just...
How often have you gone away from a church feeling good about anything?
I mean, true. It's like good about yourself, right? Because you let this person out of the parking lot before you. Yeah, as you walk out, and it's like all of a sudden you're opening doors for ladies, and
One defining factor that I'll leave you with is that.
Oh no, you're not leaving us
with that. Okay,
no, we're just starting.
But this one's real important. Is he gives us this idea that in the tabernacle function, everything's around the center. Everything's on a level playing field. Think about it. Jesus says, he washes the disciples' feet. Why? His point is I'm God and I'm washing your feet.
Yeah.
in other words, if you want to be the greatest, you got to be the least. Okay.
Yeah.
But his reference is what he's really looking for is family.
Write that down.
Yeah.
If you want to be the greatest, you have to be the least.
You have to be the least.
Title.
But every time you go in any religious organization that there is hierarchy, that is thoroughly aligned with the Sumerian Babylonian concept that's directly at war with Genesis. God's and there are those who will argue this all day. Now I don't want to step on any toes, but you kind of the Masonic idea that we have in our kind of Masons. You know, there's 33 degrees of Masonry, and you come down. So I got to be careful because some people are, and I don't want to. But yeah,
we're not Masons. But
okay,
we know a few. Yeah, we know a few.
But we are Illuminati. No, but careful. You go into a church and there's hierarchy. It's already got the essence. And Jesus, so some of the terms that are used, it begins in the beginning with the spirit. Okay, it begins with the Nephilim. And he says in Exodus, he talks about the Raphaim. And he refers to this thing called the Raphaim spirit. And that is the spirit that is emitted by the Nephilim. And so that's why they couldn't be in the land. Notice he didn't tell them to kill everybody in the land. He told only to kill the Nephilim. He's killing the giants. And the giants are about 6'3".
Well, shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to be looking over my shoulders.
Oh, by the way, that's another thing that the Jews changed. They turned Goliath into 9 feet tall, but in all the Septuagint, he's 6'3" to 6'6", somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
That is wild. That's so are they just talking about different races of people?
Man, your guess is good as mine, but when you look at the text, they're saying 6'3", 6'6" is Goliath, and Goliath's brothers are not as big as him, and he kills Goliath, and that whole story is focused at what are they doing? It's undoing. That's why in Noah, there's the Nephilim are reigning on the earth. That's why he says, in the end, how will it be? It will be like as in the days of Noah, where everything is based on inequity. There's a whole inequity. That's what the gods are introducing, is inequity into the system so that we'll kill each other.
Is this your correlation into modern, your modern observances of end of times? Is that...
Yeah,
that's what I don't want you to leave.
I told you, I'm not the end times guy. I'm not that guy because, I mean, it's coming. I mean, I don't know. I think it's weird. Sure. I mean, something's up, dude. I don't know what. I mean, because supposedly there's like 1,000 years. I don't know, and I don't chase it. And I literally don't. And I've listened to everything. Even Michael Heiser's got some real good stuff on it, and he'll tell you, dude, I call uncle because there's a lot going on in that, and a lot of it seems to be principal markers.
By that you mean Revelations?
Yeah, there's a lot. Revelations,
or Daniel, or the end times.
There's a little bit of everything. Some of it's predicting the creation, the coming of Jesus, which is a lot more to that than anything else. And then I would say there's a lot about what takes place next. I think, I don't want to be mean and cruel to Catholics because I love all believers, but I believe that the Catholic Church as an institution is pretty well pagan. It's pretty much it's a usurpation by the enemy of what was supposed to be. Now, do I think that they had the wrong intentions? I don't know. I mean, tell me what Constantine was thinking.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
I gotcha.
And some of it's just snuck into the system, if you will. So I don't know, but they definitely have hierarchy, and they're more aligned with the Babylonian concept of the gods creating lesser beings and lesser beings and lesser beings, and that humans are useless. They have no value. You look at Genesis, you're created in the image of God. I can count every hair on your head. I knew you before you were born, that kind of concept. Yeah. So he places high value on his creation versus the Anunnaki, which are shown in the Babylonian texts they give no value.
Yeah, we were slaves.
They're useless. They're worth. You could eat them, use them for fertilizer, whatever you want to do. Yeah. And when you see the Holocaust, well, knowing that all Jews are Pharisees, and Jesus called the Pharisees the sons of Satan, but he says there's still a place. So I'm one of those. It's like you start listening to. Candace Owens at the moment, and she's going off the rails, and then Tucker Carlson going on.
Yeah, Tucker's been off the rails.
Yeah, and I'm like I'm I do think that what they're pointing out is true. I mean, Mossad is crap, and the globalist Jews are crap. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we don't have to argue that one. But the reality. But then you go. I'm not going to go. What's his name? Our senator Ted. I'm not going to go Ted Cruz, and I'm not going to go. We got to support him. Where I'm like, I'm going to become a Zionist and run around. I don't think that those two things. On the other hand, there's just something. I think we're in a cosmic clash, and just be careful, because I don't know where. I think you honor God and what God's doing with His people. On the other hand, be wise and know what's going on with the Jews. They're bad news, dude. And even He said it. So,
but it's a global power. Global power requires some skepticism, not some. It's like global power requires a lot of skepticism.
Yeah,
and. Who are the global powers right now? Well, the U.S., the Zionist. Okay, are those two different entities? Maybe not, right? And then the communist bloc, which is China.
Yeah, I think that the neo-Marxist communist bloc got in our. It's a disease, and it's a systemic disease. It's like a bloodstream oriented. Toxin. It's a contagion or contagion.
Yeah, that's what John Lennon's saying about.
And it's entered all the way through the system, and it permeated the system, and it's here. But now we're aware of it.
Yeah.
And so the battle for Middle Earth begins.
Okay, so since we're on this subject, we might as well roll with it, because we're skipping over a few.
Let's do it.
Hell.
But we're here.
It's good
we're
shit.
here.
Yeah.
Which brings us into like modern talks about Greenland.
Okay, sure.
I, for the life of me, don't understand this. But then I saw Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada,
freaking out about it. Yeah.
Did you see him announce in his own terms? This is verbatim the way he said it, ushering in the new world.
I saw that
order.
Yeah.
What about? Wait.
It seems
about
like
Greenland?
It seems like he wants to align with China. Alberta.
No, they are. They're going for the Europeans. They're going. If you don't let us instill you with our postmodern European values, we're going to go hang out with the Chinese. That's what they're saying. And it's like, dude, do it. You guys sat down to pee in Germany now because your wives told you to. So go get cucked all you want to be.
Or the Islamists have moved in and made you their bitch.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So are those a co-aligning of dark forces? I mean,
all
dark.
over the planet.
Yeah, that's just the other side. I'm calling them dark. That might be the light forces. I don't know. Right?
Alberta now is petitioning for secession from Canada.
Yeah.
They may end up actually being
Saskatchewan and BC.
Hopefully, British Columbia. There's a lot of pretty mountains up there. I'll tell you what. We may actually have a 51st state. But what are you? I'm asking you this because you're much better educated on this. Tell us about the Greenland situation.
It's exactly what the news is saying. I mean, it's Trump flexing the Monroe Doctrine. In fact, I just got off the phone talking to somebody who had to argue with a lieutenant colonel retired. And anyway, that generation is. I mean, I love those guys, but that generation is so. A lot of them are still so NATO and the Russians are going to get us and this, and all that. The reality is that the Greenland is a shield. You can see it. Yeah, the natural resources, it's got reasons why. But his real reason is flex of the Monroe Doctrine. Dude, I just saw you've got Metropolis. That's badass.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. I used to have that on my wall. But that's a really cool one. Okay, sorry.
Hold on. That might have been the world's record for the biggest squirrel ever on the show.
I mean,
we've got some really good squirrels on here,
man.
Jack.
I don't think it's really a squirrel.
That's like, what's his name? Fritz Lang, man. That's like.
Well, what he means by squirrel is he was hardcore talking about this. And all of a sudden
squirrel.
That was a squirrel.
Well, there's some relevance to the movie.
I love that. I do that all the time with
we do it all the time here.
So Monroe Doctrine, meaning we have an obligation and a right and obligation to
that's the truth.
Protect our side of the world.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, it's the Monroe Doctrine. He's going down that road. He's pulling out of Europe. Mm-hmm. He's going to let the Europeans reform themselves. They're going to scream and holler. We're going to lose your partners. No, they're going to go with the Chinese for a while, but then that's going to be a real big mistake for them.
Yeah.
I think that I don't really understand how they're doing this, and I'm going to plead innocence on this. They're going to somehow eradicate $38 trillion in debt. I think we're going to default on it, but the way we're going to do it is just to erase it. And I know that sounds crazy.
How can we do that, though?
Yeah, that gets weird.
Same way we were able to just go into another place and take your president out of your house.
Yeah, kind of like that.
We're just going to say, no,
we don't
owe you
because we got special ray guns and you don't.
We don't owe you $39 million.
Have you heard all of the testimony?
We made everybody's nose bleed and turned off the lights and everything else with our special ray guns. You know?
But the people who have the debt are the Elohim.
Yeah, but what are they going to do? I don't know if that's the word.
Elohim. Elohim. The people who have the debt are the Elohim.
What are they going to do if we just say...
They're going to cancel that right quick.
Yeah. That's they're going to shut down the media. They're going to cause a pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to create a virus, and then they're going to release it.
Yeah.
In the world.
Yeah, I do think that's what's going on. I think that Greenland is going to be... Greenland's a shield. Trump's flexing the Monroe. He's pulling out. He's making a point. Half the country doesn't like it. They're like, that's so mean. I don't believe in being an aggressor nation. It makes me so feel uncomfortable. So there's going to be that, and everybody's going to get, there's going to be a lot of vaginal excretion going on over there, but that's what it is. So, yeah, that's what's going down. But Greenland, they're like, no, I don't think he's actually going to do it. I'm 50-50. I think he means it.
How does it get done then?
I think what happens is that the United States just claims that Greenland is their territory.
Like, tell us no, Denmark.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Exactly.
Say we can't.
Yeah, and I do think that he offers every Greenlander $1.5 million or something like that, and I think that they should. We are Danish. Oh, wait a minute, maybe we're okay. All of a sudden that changes. Birdie, birdie, we want the money. So I think
there are people that live in Greenland that are for it, and they're not a large majority, but there are people that have advocated. Yeah, we don't like being Danish.
So what's the oil situation in Greenland? Is it a public
They say that
company?
Off the coast, they say that Greenland's got a massive natural gas reserve, because you just can't get to it.
Is oil really a strategic thing now? Because they just talked about discovering like 21 billions of barrels of oil again in Texas in the Permian Basin all over again.
Yeah, but we don't want to use all of our stuff yet.
We're leaving ours as a big reserve tank. I mean, if anything, we pump it back in the ground.
Right.
Just let it hang out until we need it. Yeah.
No, but I think the Greenland it's a Monroe flex. He's doing it, and I think he's going to pivot all of our attention to exactly the countries that he said he was going to, which is Panama, Colombia. Mm-hmm. He's going to, you see, you got Mexico, okay? And then you got them little countries down there. Those are southern Mexico. And have y'all heard this before? Okay, then you've got Colombia, Venezuela, that's extremely southern Mexico. And then you got down there at Brazil, you got Negro Mexico, and you got Argentina, Italio Mexico.
Okay.
All right. And then over in Spain, you got Euro Mexico.
Okay. So that's...
A lot of Mexicans.
A lot of Mexicans. That's all I say, a lot of Mexicans.
But what that's alluding to is Mexico's kind of the lead on that block, the Latin block of narco economy.
Yeah.
Which is co-aligned with the communists
or the highest bidder.
Well, have y'all heard all this? To bring up another conspiracy point, have y'all heard all this? Have y'all ever watched The Last Narc on that deal on? I think it's on Netflix. No, it's on Amazon.
I haven't.
Okay.
It sounds familiar, but I don't think I've seen it.
So it's the whole story about the 80s and about the Bushes and how deeply embedded in the cocaine empire they are. Have y'all read all that stuff?
No, but I'm not surprised to hear their name associated.
Yeah, so there's a whole story, and I'm before I get canned here on this thing, there's a lot of evidence.
You've already said enough to be canned.
Yeah,
Mossad has not come through the door yet.
Church is going to meet me out front.
The Catholics.
How dare you say that because I have an orderly fashion, I am the chief and everybody's below me.
Don't talk about Bush on here.
And then you're talking about that's just like
you son
blasphemy.
It's
like,
but they were deep in it.
This whole thing where the Bushes, I don't want to go into all that tonight, but you should watch. There's a podcast that I do like called Eyes Wide Open. I think it's called. I think it's Eyes Wide Open, and this dude runs some of the best stuff you've ever seen. Like it's. And he's a pure academic, so he's not running around coming up with space alien. No, everything is, and it doesn't make a Rothschild connection off everything. He's running the bushes through, and he's showing, and it goes to JFK assassination, all connected with a lot of what's gone on in the history of Bush, post, really the whole creation of the CIA and Dulles and all that. He runs a really detailed analysis, and I mean, it's overwhelming to watch, but yeah, you got to jump into that one. We can do that one night. You
turned me into the PBD podcast, which is a good one.
Oh yeah,
too.
Patrick Bet-David.
Yep.
Dude, I think he's like the most based, middle of the road, the guy that I want to hear his opinion most of the time.
Yeah.
But I loved when Vinny got pissed at that Eric Schmitz guy and almost kicked his ass. That was amazing, man. Go Vinny, go.
Yeah, PBD podcast is a great one.
Yeah,
if you
I love
listen
Vinny.
to it. Have you?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. All the young guys in Dallas, my son's friends I got them all hooked on PBD. That's the best.
They're all New York, right?
In Dallas? Oh, no, the guys.
No,
they're Miami.
Yeah. Oh, they're Miami.
That's all. That is in a hangar in Miami Airport is where because he owns a hangar down there for his point. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they made just like this, they made a recording studio in the hangar. So, yeah.
Well, in the end of times or shitty times or whatever, Greenland gets invaded or we get invaded, we all, machine guns.
You want to do machine guns?
Machine guns. Machine guns is it's a good thing to have.
That I'm off of, but maybe I want to get to what your thoughts.
I think Jack's going to have to be a quarterly segment.
Yeah, maybe.
There's enough here to.
But maybe we hit on machine guns. But I want to get on. It's like, what's your opinion? Because you seem to be well informed, right?
About the View, I don't know anything about
it. Like our current
crazy ass fucking bitches.
Yeah, it's about our position in history, or
right now,
or our economy, or the things that get real.
Scaring me, but look, the interest rate thing's what's hurting us all the worst. I mean, but people just don't realize the damage they did in COVID. Like they have dumped tons of cash on us in this the Minnesota thing, all the stuff that's going on. I mean, there's just the corruption is and it's intentional. They did it that way. So, for devaluation of the dollar, and I think they're trying to run up the debt or something. I'm not sure exactly where they're going, but if they dump the $38 trillion, does it matter anyway? I don't know. I've got questions there that I don't fully understand. Bitcoin is being weird. Gold is being weird. Gold's behaving like it ought to. Bitcoin, I think, is there's some stuff going on with that, but I won't go into that tonight. But anyway, I'm leery of it, but it could go either way, man. And but to your point, the subject of where our national prestige, I think most people are just confused. I think Trump's operating at 5D level. And I think that, but he talks like he's operating at playing checkers, And I think that it's, his advisors, the whole team that's going on. I mean, those guys are just slaying it everywhere.
You would think that he has to be surrounded by the best of the best,
and he really has unleashed hell this time, because just watch it. Just for instance, gun law, and just using that. Dude, did you see that DOJ memo that just came out that we're going to be able to transfer guns without a dealer anymore across state lines?
Oh, wow.
DOJ said it is the 1927 ruling is unconstitutional. You can get it if you want to require an NICS check, fine, but you do it at the source. You can't make them sign to pick, because now he's like, you have to do the NICS check, pick it up. No, it's going to be that you do the NICS check, you hand them the gun, or you mail the gun. So it's going to eliminate dealers across state lines for standard Class 1 transactions, which tees into machine guns. But anyway, which is Class 3.
So that's a bold move on Trump's part, just to say.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kind of. The first time that the DOJ has sued a state for violating someone's constitutional rights with guns, they've sued like 4 states. That has never happened in the history of the country.
Wow.
Yeah, the gun law crap that Pam Bondi's got going down. I mean, the whole Epstein thing made me wanted to just bitch slap her. But the reality of what's going on, what they're doing with the guns, right up until the point of legalizing machine guns, which they haven't even touched that. They're not touching that can of worms. But dude, they are slaying it. I think they're going to force the Supreme Court to have their assault weapons ban case. They're going to have their mag ban case. They're going to have their protected spaces case. The Hawaii case is hit. This vampire rule where you can't you can't take a gun on private property without written express permission in Hawaii.
By whom? The landowner?
The landowner. So if I go to your land and I don't have permission, I don't have it expressly written, then it's
that you can't
felony.
Carry.
Like just a sidearm in your pocket.
Yeah, like but in anywhere else, it's like I go on your. If you have a prohibited sign, then I'm in trouble. But if you don't, then I just take my gun with me. Yeah,
implied. Yeah,
it's
okay.
Carry it in your pocket and don't tell anybody you have it. What they don't know.
They don't allow conceal or open either one. So anyway, things like he's doing the Trump DOJ is doing light years more than anybody. Like that's like Bush talking about, I'm a Republican, I own the Texas Rangers. He didn't do shit for guns. Nothing.
Just towed the
line.
He
gave us a couple of bad Supreme Court justices. Well, I mean, Alito was good. But, so his dad gave terrible Supreme Court justice. And Reagan did the same thing with Sandra Day O'Connor. Who was it? Was he Sandra Day O'Connor or was it Bush? Anyway, one of the two.
I don't know. You're older than us. Remember that, though.
And I'm a nerd on Supreme Court stuff. So, yeah. But, yes, that's the thing.
So he's doing, it's like if you had to give Trump a grade, you personally,
the PR side of it and the appearance side, to give him a -5, but I just hope they pull it out for the midterms. I think they're relying on the fact that we got enough pivot off these these redistricting things that I think he thinks we're going to win that. And more importantly, what's about to happen with the redistricting from the standpoint of the census and getting rid of the Mexicans off the. Excuse me, Mexicans. The illegal aliens off the...
it ain't just Mexicans. We know that now.
Undocumented people walking around. Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah,
they're not voting anymore, in other words.
Yeah. And I'm being mean to the Mexicans. Mexicans probably all vote Republican anyway. A lot of them. Yeah. Except for their women, and they're about 50-50. Your cleaning ladies probably, I don't know, I want free health care. Like, bitch, vote Republican.
Well, we've established that middle-class, middle-aged white women are probably the most dangerous demographic right now.
That's the worst demographic in the country. Yeah.
That's where's put us in political hot
If y'all
waters.
have a cleaning lady, I recommend you talk at least a little bit dirty to her and talk and try to get her to vote Republican. Say, listen, honey, I think if I wasn't married, it'd be me and you. I'm talking.
Do you have a cleaning lady? I don't have it. My wife. I'll talk dirty to her.
I live in Dallas. I got a cleaning lady. I got a cleaning lady, and I got two cleaning ladies.
God, you left Southlake and went to Dallas. You bougie motherfucker.
Yeah, well, I'm married to a Jap, so go figure.
I told you. I didn't think we could call him that.
Yeah, you can't. My
Japanese lady.
My wife thinks the word Jap is cute. She's like, that's so cute. I'm like, it's supposed to be racist. And she's
like, supposed to be offended.
Yeah, she's like, does the little finger thing.
Call me Jap, bitch.
How did you meet a Japanese lady?
At a party in Fifth Avenue in New York with a buddy of mine who is an architect in New York.
Sounds like a great...
And he's a total right-wing Republican.
Huh.
Yeah.
And there was no cocaine.
No, believe it or not, not in my system. Dude, you're going to laugh. I've smoked weed a couple. I used to have this habit of like if I was stressed or something, I would every once in a while. Just I would get a vape pen and I would. But I'm like seriously, I don't use it once every 3 to 6 months. I would, and I ran out and I kind of haven't in a long time. But I've never touched, and I'm not bragging or Bill Clinton in it, but I really have never touched anything.
You don't need
it. Yeah.
Could you imagine Jack on cocaine?
Can you imagine me on cocaine? I was going to say, dude, I am. I've got the nervous system of cocaine. Let's just I tell you what, I'll give you a pint of my blood and I'll sell it to you.
What do you, obviously, you don't sleep much, right? Because everything that I've ever talked to you about, you are deep in, you know it.
Yeah.
So how do you relax? What do you do to wind down?
Okay,
YouTube.
I got a Japanese wife. Let's just put it that way. Gotcha. We do some Japanese stuff every once in a while.
So, are we going to survive AI?
That's a big one. I think they're going to have a revolt on their hands if they do what they were talking about. And I think Elon was smart enough to see that. I think they're going to be real careful with it. I think they're rethinking it. Putting everybody out of work was a real bad fucking idea, unless you're going to kill them all. So, we also offer a special euthanasia program. What's the plan here?
Well, they talk about what a cash cow it is, but it's not. It's a closed loop of cash.
Yeah, because it's going to kill. It's going to kill everybody off, and then it's going to kill the economy. I mean, but if they're going to keep printing money, maybe they'll just pay themselves to exist. I don't know, but there's some of that's going on. But I think that the bust up of the globalist, it's going to get real. It's going to get sporty.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening. A bust up of globalists.
I think that's what's going down. I think they're a total realignment. God bless the Russians for being. The Russians are the Ewoks. They're like, when the Empire Strikes Back and the Ewoks, they're like the Ewoks, man. They're like,
I can't help. I can't help but draw parallels from this conversation to the last conversation we had. And, it's like the bust up of the Elohim and the bust up of the globalists, like there seems to be some parallel things that are happening.
There's a lot happening prophetically, something happening. There's a lot going on in the ethosphere. I don't know what, but there's just nothing I can do about it. I don't know like, what can I do?
Pay attention to it, follow it.
Yeah, following it, keeping up. But I think Greenland, I think it's a shield, Monroe Doctrine, all the way through. I think Trump's right on the money with it. I think he's leading like a mofo on this. I think he's right. He's out on point, and he's not going to be liked for it. If he can survive it, and we can survive the midterms, history will look good. Yeah, if we can somehow pull off even a 1-vote margin and keep the House, then let's roll,
Yeah.
But
So what should a semi-productive young person do with this information?
How young?
It's like 25.
Oh, my son, they're like 28. Yeah, his age, those dudes, they sit around, they're wild. They meme it up. They talk about it, but they're they're on it. They're smart about it.
It's his own specific art form, right?
But it's crazy. He went to Texas A&M too, and he graduated with a bunch of really high level, rich Indian kids and a few Islamic kids that were in engineering. Believe it or not, and not very many white kids were in there, and and a lot of them are Mahatma Gandhi communists. Their parents were that age of the post British Revolution India, and they're pretty mixed up group right now. They're like really confused because they voted for Trump.
Yeah.
And now they don't know how to feel about it all, and so they're all, I think there's a lot of confusion in the Xennials.
Yeah. Young, right-wing voters.
They're like, I'd call them true swing voters.
Okay.
Yeah, but my son and his buddies.
It's like the white female.
No, no. The white female, she's there for. They took my abortion rights away. I can't. Taking abortion rights from a white bitch is like there is nothing that you can do. Like the right to kill their baby, there's nothing any more valuable in life.
The hill they die on.
It's her sacred right to kill her child. That's it. They're not going. There's not much else to discuss on that one.
Yeah.
That deal's done.
They're a lost cause.
Yeah, and Trump's mean, Orange Man bad, and all the others. So do y'all watch what's his name? Banankis, the comedian guy. I think I've sent you he's the fat guy.
Yes.
And he said there's like, I got to get a kick out of these women that go down to Home Depot and they're like, how dare you? You're so mean. How dare you take away? You'd separate him from his family. And she's in her Lululemon shorts and she's got her latte and she goes,
Clueless.
That's some good stuff.
We got hated on by some Karens this week.
Did you?
You did?
Yeah, no,
nice.
we did.
We did? Vegan Karens on the YouTubes.
Ooh, so we had
no, it was the YouTubes or was it the Facebooks?
I think it was the YouTubes.
The onlines.
I think it was the YouTubes.
It was the onlines.
Yeah, it was onlines.
Yeah?
Yeah, we posted some hog content. And
killing some hogs and
and oh boy, they came out in droves.
That's where you really get people pissed off.
Yeah.
We need to bring a belt fed out, and y'all need to just have your way.
That'd be fantastic.
Do you want to?
Yes.
We do it down here?
Awesome.
Who the fuck would say no to that?
Well, I know.
Yes, down here, wherever.
Okay, let me get a weekend. We got to do this.
Okay.
Like, for real. We'll bring we got an M60. We'll bring the 60.
I'm thinking a collaboration, right?
Somebody's got.
Yeah.
Am I gay if my dick's getting hard right now?
We got our Post 86 MG42 is out right now, but that's the buzzsaw. That thing.
Yeah.
The 60's more fun because it's got a slightly lower rate of fire. You're firing the MG42, you're at 1,600 rounds per minute, and you can change the bolt out. You can get it down to 900, but closer to the M60. But the M60's probably the better thing to do. Yeah.
Let's table the machine gun chat for another one.
Okay.
We need to have you back. But before we end this episode, we not need to. We have to. We gotta talk about the taxes in ad valorem and Texas property taxes.
That's a good one.
Let's touch on that one.
Yeah, I think
explain. My interpretation of ad valorem is like based on its value, appreciating value.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell simple-minded folk like me, what is ad valorem?
Yeah. Part of it goes to county services. Not half, but a percentage of it goes to the Texas school system. Most of it's going to school systems. So technically, there's not a single property. When they started this in the 1930s, okay, no big deal. It's a couple of dollars. Well, it's significant now. It's beyond.
I think I speak for everyone when I say we are all getting fucked
on taxes. And you got these school administrators that, we really have a lot. No, you don't. So the reality is that not one single piece of property is privately owned in the state of Texas as a result of ad valorem. And nobody stopped to think about it, but you pay rent now to be here, and it's significant.
I bet you there are a lot of people
that
have stopped to think about it.
Yeah, and how long will it last? You probably got a lot of farmers in there. You just keep sitting there saying, "Well, I got it under ag open, and I'm in a good position."
You're still
until you're not under ag open because it's an exemption. Yeah. And if they take that exemption away and they appraise your farm out here as Dallas real estate, shit, it's gone like inheriting a house in Highland Park. You know, it's like, so that ain't gonna work. So the reality is that it's butt fucked. I mean, okay. Yeah. So and it needs to go, and they know they got to do it. They don't know what to replace it with. If you do it right, you go to some type of value-added tax. That's complicated. You're not going to solve it all at once, but you basically tax sales tax. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be higher, but you know who's paying it? Every single mofo on the frickin'
whoever's coming in,
everybody
and out of
in the Congo's paying. Yeah. Instead of it being where these people are paying it, these people, no, your poor ass is paying it. Well, I'm tax. No, you're not. You're not tax exempt. You buy it every time you go to the grocery store, and you do. And then you get to say, well, that fucking sucks. I don't like how much. Why are our taxes so high? Because those assholes at that school system built that big damn football stadium that they shouldn't have built, and they're going to build another one in 3 years at the middle school. It's bigger than that one. Okay, so now you start going, well, maybe that was a bad idea.
Yeah, they keep getting rid of athletic directors.
Yeah,
all right, Jack. So if you were Jesus,
hiring superintendents, the
whole thing, all of it, dude. Education. Let's get real. If you took my mom and a few other school teachers, that kind of thing, and you did all the lessons for every subject in the state of Texas and put it on a podcast, a year's worth, you don't need teachers. I'm sorry, teachers, you're hearing this, but and I know that cuts off your insurance for your, all that. Well, here's the reality. That's exactly what the truth is. So these teachers better get righteous and quit joining together in their damn teachers unions and running around chasing Dan Patrick down, because that's what Dan Patrick does. I'm going to get the teachers unions. That's his thing. But Abbott right now is saying, no, I'm going to kill this system. It's got to go. And we got to. And do you know what it's going to do when they do it? What it did to Hawaii in a good way. Overnight, the value of Texas real estate is going to double. Just double. So buy something. I don't care what it is, just buy something. Because if you flip it and sell it, just buy something. Yeah, the day that they pass it, when you start seeing that come down, buy some shit. I don't care what it is, buy it.
What do they replace it with? So what happened in Hawaii?
Well, Hawaii is a different story because Hawaii has got,
a much smaller.
Hawaii is an Indian reservation.
Yeah.
Okay, so they basically pay the Indians to be still, okay, and don't be friends with the Japanese, essentially. And the whole island's covered with Japanese, and they're the only useful people on the island, by the way. Because the whites are all Massachusetts. You've got Nancy Pelosi over at Mountain. Well, I'm over here right now. And then you got. I didn't have a single white friend the 2 years I lived in Hawaii. I was friends only with the Japanese and a few Koreans and 2 Chinese, and that was it. And then there was a couple of surfer dudes that were like Republican right when we were buddies, And so that's it, But the red, So what they did is they got rid of they don't have any tax. So you got an $8 million home and the dude pays, it's like, I think he pays $5,000 a year for taxes on an $8 million home. Yeah, it's like whatever ours is, add a zero to the end of it kind of thing.
They have an income tax.
Yeah, because ours is like 3%, 2% kind of range.
Yeah.
They're like 0.03%.
But they have an income tax.
Yeah, got an income tax. But
and I've said,
think about it.
Why not an income tax here? And
do you know how you live in Hawaii?
Yeah.
You got a Texas address, and I didn't have an income tax. Dude, my check comes here, it goes into the bank,
Makes
and
so
I
much
spend
sense.
it in Hawaii. I didn't pay any income tax while I was living there. Yeah. So, I mean, and everybody does it because they're all vacation homes.
Yeah, okay, so that's a different situation because you're talking about vacation housing. We're talking about a place that has a big GDP.
Well, Texas
where a
wouldn't
lot
have
of
an
people
income
live and work and you know.
Yeah, but if we got rid of the Texas income tax, then
ad valorem tax
or ad valorem,
probably.
It would bring people into Texas because there's so many people that
it's going to bring quality people into Texas. What you're fixing to have happen is you're going to have
not that we need to bring people in Texas.
I'm not interested in doing that either.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. Please keep going.
Good people, quality. If they're coming,
I just don't want to bring the California low, like I can get a cheap house and prosper, that kind of thing. Yeah,
that door is shut.
Yeah, no, what you want, it's you get rid of the if you go to a VAT tax, you're not going to have a state income tax. Texas are never going to go for that.
Yeah.
And you've gotten rid of your property tax. Now taxes are truly low in Texas. Texas they got bragging rights. Okay. And it's back to where it was at. Now, our schools are going to suffer. But what that means is that, we might not
legalize gambling, and there's ways to put money into the school system.
Well, they legalized gambling and we never made any money off of it. Because a few people own the Texas Lotto Commission and all that crap. You know what I mean? So that shit never goes down. And if you do, you're going to have to get serious about it.
You have to deal with schools to deal with the tax situation.
All you got to do is go back and hit those 3 Italians that have got the freaking Texas Lottery Commission and they own the franchise, whatever.
Yeah.
And you can pay for schools overnight with that shit.
But that never came to fruition, right?
Because the way they did it, it's such little money that goes to it. And there's a bunch of other complications with it. But yeah, ultimately, the probably going to some kind of sales VAT tax type thing, and now you feel it, and now we all talk about it, and we're talking about how I went to Decatur yesterday and I bought at Tractor Supply, and that cost me I had a 15% sale. Well, now you're looking at that school teacher and that school administrator like, I want to fucking kill you. You know what I mean? And we're all doing it together. Yeah. As opposed to right now, it's like, well, you rich people need to pay your fair share of the taxes that live in those nice homes and have that big farm and fuck you. You know, it's like, no. So when you put it back that the dude living in a trailer house over on the other side of town, he's paying that shit too.
Yeah.
Well, now we're all having the same conversation about Daisy Mae Rottencrotch, the teacher, who can't do her job and got blue hair and is over there lesing out with her friend. So it all changes then.
So what happens to education? Public education.
Improves drastically.
Okay.
And
public education.
And do you know why Southlake Carroll just closed a campus and why Highland Park just closed a campus and why Westlake?
Oh, wow.
Because so many fucking people are homeschooling their kids and the programs are better.
Yeah.
You don't need private schools anymore. You homeschool and they got programs and it's like, you're not, these kids aren't coming out like, oh, I can't hang out. I'm desocialized and I don't know.
But let's advocate for the kids that can't, or the parents that can't put their kids in that kind of situation.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
You still want the kids to have the best opportunity possible, right?
I'm biased as well, but
you'd be surprised when it hits the school systems and it takes the floor out from under them, how fast the system's going to change in the homes. You're going to see more money available for homeschooling, and it's going to change the dynamic. You just got to pivot with the change. So I don't think it's going to be there's like, well, I'm going to get caught up, and no, you're not.
Yeah.
But a change a coming.
I do think so.
Yeah.
If he does what he says he's doing, that's his campaign promise. Let's see if he pulls it off. And I mean, he's got the backing of it. So
the campaign promise is to end ad valorem property taxes and adjust with a
kill it and find a new system. He talked about that they may leave part of it in place for the counties, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple other mechanisms for that, but I do believe that they'll try to end it. Now, every teachers union, everything. You want to talk about because the communist factor, the socialist factor is that this is how you destroy generational wealth is through these homes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, people case in point, I got a buddy that grandparents paid $600,000 for their house in the 70s or 80s in Highland Park. And I'm not, I'm from Southlake, so I don't, but.
Yeah, those are some rich people.
That house is this old 1960s home or something like that. Okay, it's nice, but it's not nice. And, it's like in any other neighborhood, but it's in Highland Park.
Yeah.
And they inherited this thing. Freaking lot's $15 million.
Mm.
Yeah. And so they got reappraised the day they inherited. Now, if they'd have left it in a family trust,
they wouldn't have touched it.
Well, it would have gone up, but not quite like it did. But it still would have gone up. But there's so many people that I know in Highland Park
that are losing generational.
These are your traditional conservative type Highland Park people. These aren't I moved here from Chicago or New York. These are like, I've been here since the 40s.
Yeah, not newbies.
They're not newbies. They're old school Highland Park type people that inherited those in there. But that's coming to us in Southlake and places like that are getting hit by it, and it'll move right through to all the smaller towns too. It hasn't hit Wise County, like it's hit everywhere else. But trust me, it's coming. And the county commissioner's court and a lot of those. Well, be careful what I say on that, but I still think they operate a little like it's 1965.
Yeah,
they're
in Decatur.
Yeah, how dare they? I can't imagine that.
No,
there's a lot to that conversation, but yeah.
Oh man. There's a lot here. There's a lot here.
So, Jack, you are Jesus, and you're bringing your counsel into the ecclesia under Mount Hermon to instill your perfected property or your tax-based system. What do you do?
The Jesus tax man.
Yeah. What is your the power lies with you? What do you do if you had that option?
Just put it on sales tax.
Okay.
Let everybody see it. Bare naked lady right out there for everybody to see, and then let's argue about it. Let's have a real discussion.
Yeah,
sure.
Let's fight about it. Let's argue about it, and let's come to a conclusion and figure out what we're going to cut because the schools are out of control.
Okay.
I mean, it's criminal. There's fraud. There's everything going on in them, and it's a bad culture. I think a lot of it needs to go online. I think a lot of it needs
transparency.
I think you need a lot more automated. You use technology to educate the kids and stop. They turned it into socialism. It's Texas socialism. It's like, well, and I get it, but I don't want to put a whole workforce out of whack. But I don't think it's going to lead to that. But I do think you'd fire a lot of blue-haired lesbians that shouldn't have ever had a job in the first place.
Yeah.
So, and you end up with a bunch of Depression-era grandmas who are teaching your lessons to a bunch of kids and talking about God, Jesus, and guns.
Yeah.
As opposed to, do you feel like you're a girl? Okay.
Education can still happen at home, no matter where your kid is in whatever school system. You can still educate your kid.
Yeah. Why can't 10 families take their kid, put them at one house, and pay one chick to take care of those kids, and they go over there and do their lesson plans on their little freaking laptops and iPads and shit, and then go the fuck home when you're done. And then I don't know, and then she takes them to athletics, or she takes them and runs their ass around the block, or or takes them out to your farm, and we put a little hide and go seek place out here for school kids.
It's freaking crazy. Okay, so I'll tell you what happened this week. I homeschooled my girls, 12 and 15.
Way to go!
And we're doing this biology curriculum that got rather tedious all of a sudden. So we're getting into kind of central dogma, how DNA information transcribes and goes all the way to like protein, and it's getting like really tedious. And I have to start like searching for, okay, this curriculum's not working for us, so I got to find something else to kind of bridge the gap for my girls. And I found a free version that was created by a biopharmaceutical company. Okay, so basically it's a curriculum that was funded and made public by a pharmaceutical company about this subject. And it caused me to think this week, it's like, why are we not having our technology companies form publicly available curriculum for the betterment of the public, for the betterment of their workforce, right? Know. Because that's exactly what happened in this one very specific case, and it worked. It was good.
Yeah,
and it's like, man, if that could just replicate itself,
I agree.
then it would be really cool.
It's something that the technology companies are scared of the teachers' unions. They're scared of the NEA.
Right.
They're scared
stepping on toes.
Yeah, it's like that is their socialism, and you don't mess with our our outdated socialism.
Yeah.
The models are, and I get it. I just think you redesign it, and I think that there's ways to do it, but there's a lot of people in education that ought not to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's and we've turned it into this just natural progression, and the whole bottom line is, dude, I'm speaking kind of rough, but it's like a lot of people, they get their insurance off the fact their wife is a school teacher, and the dude runs a business. I mean, that's pretty common. We got to find another way for that. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to solve all the world's problems, but I think that's one we can't do this whole thing. We can't turn our kids into transsexuals so that you can have insurance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we don't need the activists in the school systems.
Yeah, and that shit's got to go, and the only way to do it is to yank it loose and scare the crap out of them. And when they see this ad valorem tax thing change, I think it's gonna be a massive awakening. I think Texas is gonna get real. Dude, Texas is good with technology.
Yeah.
That's what gets me is that people are like, well, we're just more stuck in our way. No, we're not. Texas was the leaders, and we've been the leaders in every freaking thing since Stephen F. Austin.
Motorola here. We've had
we are freaking English,
Texas,
and we shall have our way.
Texas Instruments, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rule Britannia in Texas. I mean, that's my attitude.
You good over here?
Oh, yeah.
You said like 3 words all night.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Yeah.
We filled the space.
You dress nice and sophisticated. Now you quit talking.
I like that shirt.
That's because I had to go to Catholic church today.
Oh, shit. I burned him up. After this, I'm dead.
Well, I think we can table a few things for the next one.
Okay, so we got to do it again. You game for
this
coming back on?
Anytime y'all want to, it's fun.
Yeah, we just opened up. I'm going to lay awake multiple nights thinking about what you've said tonight.
I got some buddies that we can bring out that they're crazier than I am, but some good topics. But yeah, I'm good just rattling.
Yeah, come back quarterly or twice a year.
And it's fun talking to you. But I got some things I wanted to ask y'all, and I didn't get around because I thought we were going to have more time to ask because I had some fun questions.
We're getting up on 2 hours, and if we watch like traffic on episodes at the 2 hour mark, it starts.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep over here. Yeah.
Well, we can fair enough. Table it for more. Will you come back? Would you come back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shoot, man. We got so much reason to come back.
Yeah, there's always something to talk about.
I need you to drone my place.
Okay.
Get ready. Yeah. All right.
Okay. I guess it should be known. Like, did you get all the drone footage of the subdivision, Overton Oaks?
Yeah, I did. It was good.
Yeah,
it was excellent. Yeah, it was real good stuff. But when I get these neon signs open, I want you to do a night drone through there and show the sign.
That'll look cool.
Play some cool music. Yeah.
So your work is like, I can give testament to your work because it's right here.
Yeah,
it turned out to be a beautiful place.
Yeah,
and it gave great homage to my family. I think some
so.
people would say, you're tearing up farmland and building homes. Like, we're leaving it better. In my opinion, we're leaving it better than we found it.
Let me tell you this: those lots out there, anybody's wanting to buy one, those are freaking badass.
Beautiful lots.
If I was going to live in Decatur or anywhere near it, that's where I know that lot right up there on the hill. And there's 2 others that are like that are just. I've never seen one. I've never seen a view like that. So buy one from Bailey Custom Homes, Scott Malden.
Yep. Just don't bring your wife. You heard about that, right? Like
no.
There was one of the lots, like the Crown Jewel. Apparently the guy was all about, I want this lot. And then he brought his wife, and his wife said, no, this one faces west.
Why didn't y'all have her killed right out there?
I want a Western, wherever I end up building my, forever home. I want
the back to be going like.
I want to see the sunset.
Look at that, looks like Landman right out there. Man.
Yeah, I want to see a sunset. I want a Western vista. And it was like, the sun's going to be hot from July to September. I'll crank the AC down a little bit. Maybe shut the plantation shutters or something.
Dang.
I can deal.
Yeah.
But
hey, that brought up one more last thought. Landman. Who's watching it? Y'all are probably all watching it.
I got to catch up on it.
Yeah, but the house that it's filmed in, we did the subdivision, Vista Ranch. There's a subdivision. Okay, and a buddy of mine, Scott Schombacher and Steve Sagerson, built the house, and that's in the movie. And it looks out over the Walsh Ranch back out there. It's really cool. Man.
Yeah, that's cool. Taylor Sheridan bringing his whole enterprise to this area is really cool. It's been a great thing.
We think we're going to have a couple of their guys living in Willow Run.
No kidding.
Expensive 500+ K RVs, and they're going to be living at Willow Run because we've got a gym and
film crew. types?
Yeah,
Okay,
like producer type people that are like mobile, because they go to all these sites, all the different filming locations.
I can't imagine they don't skimp on their digs.
No, dude, and they're looking for an awesome place. A lot of them will go out on some guy's ranch and set up. Yeah, dude, this place they love Willow Run, or our RV park. So
that's good news, man.
Yeah, it's all good.
Is your Willow Run, is it officially open or?
15 days.
Okay,
all
right.
We got people are breaking at the knees to move in. We're moving stuff in left and right, and there's a little bit of story to that because, like I told you, we got to get our neon up. So I'm sure you're counting the seconds. Literally, you've been at work on that for over 2 years. Dude, I spent 6 months.
Okay,
I spent but construction took 6 months.
Yeah,
and I was 6 days a week, pretty well 9 or 10 hours a day out there. Early in the morning, just and doing that in engineering at the same time. But I like building stuff. Yeah. So it was more fun. I got GC and it was fun. I've learned through these processes that like anytime you're involving anything like engineering, building, constructing, changing from raw land, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time, and nothing is ever on time. Very time consuming. Yeah.
Well, all right, Jack. Thanks, man. It's been a great.
Appreciate it. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
And
thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll call this Big Brain episode number 1. Next week, we got Big Brain episode number 2. My cousin Chris Maurer, who's a biomechanical engineer, coming back on. So, and then we'll have you back on another 3 months or 4 months. Yeah. My wife's cousin.
Your wife.
I mean,
yeah, but I'm related to him now.
How many wives do you have?
No. One. I get to claim him
one.
He's my family now, damn it. I'm married into him.
Fair enough.
Good night.
Adios.
You've been listening to the Whiskey Bros Roundtable. Gracias por convivir con los hermanos Whiskey.